I was jolted awake at 4 a.m. by my emergency radio blaring, a voice barking that the wildfire relief convoy needed to roll in 45 minutes. But when I looked outside, my front gate was gone, replaced by 3 hulking concrete barriers, sealing my trucks in like a prison. There, in the pre-dawn glow, I knew this was no accident. It was Pamela HOA Pam Whitaker, the neighborhood's self-anointed dictator, hell-bent on shutting me down because my rigs didn't fit her pastel dreamscape. That moment, with my dog Rusty pacing and the weight of a burning county on my shoulders, I felt a fire in my gut, not just rage, but a razor-sharp resolve to tear down her walls with the kind of backup she'd never see coming: the National Guard. I'm Luke Tanner, 43. A logistics coordinator who turned my granddad's 12-acre plot in Pinewood Valley, a quiet speck in rural Montana, into a staging ground for disaster relief. I inherited this land a decade ago, a rugged patch with a barn full of specialized rigs, mobile clinics, generators, vaccine fridges, used for floods, fires, you name it, all with federal and state permits. Pinewood's a mix of old ranches and a gated community, Crestview Heights, where the HOA, led by Pamela, rules like a small-time monarchy. My neighbors, folks like old Miss Ruth, a retired nurse who'd knit me scarves, or Carlos, a mechanic who'd tune my trucks, knew my work, respected it. Rusty, my golden retriever, bounds through the fields. And I thought I'd carved out a life here, serving others without hassle. But Pamela, with her clipboard and vendetta, saw my land as a blot on her vision, and she was gunning to force me out. It hit like a punch you don't see coming. I'd had run-ins with Pamela before, her whining about industrial noise or unsightly gravel, despite my land being outside her HOA's grip. But this? 3 concrete slabs, still wet, locking my convoy in just as wildfires raged 200 miles north, threatening lives? I ran out barefoot, headlights glinting off the barriers. My drivers already piling up on the road, their radios crackling with worry. I dialed Pamela, her fakeon answering like she hadn't orchestrated this all night. "What's with the concrete, Pam?" I growled. Her voice dripped smugness. "Just a little community upgrade, Luke. Your trucks clash with our aesthetic. Try painting M lavender." I bit back a curse. "This is a federal relief mission, Pam. People need these supplies. You're breaking the law." She chuckled. "Should have filed a noise waiver, hon. This ain't a depot." I hung up, shaking. Knowing this wasn't about noise, it was about control, and I was her target. Pamela's scheme wasn't just petty. It was a calculated land grab. Her concrete walls a move to choke my operations, force me to sell, and clear the way for a luxury golf resort her developer cousin had been eyeing for years. My land, the last holdout, was the key to their deal. And she'd stop at nothing: fake permits, sabotage, lies to get it. I snapped photos of the barriers, called the cement crew's number, deadline, and filed a police report. The cop, a buddy of Pamela's, shrugged. "Civil dispute, man. Check with permits." My gut sank. She'd planned this, papering it with bogus city approvals. My drivers, hauling medical shelters and vaccines, were stuck. Their voices tense on the radio. "Look, we're burning time. I promised a fix, but the clock was ticking and Pamela was counting on me folding." I wasn't. I marched to the HOA clubhouse, where she sat, sipping tea, flipping through a magazine like a queen. "We voted last night," she smirked, waving a flyer labeled Operation Serene Streets, with a cartoon deer prancing on a quiet road. "Your tire tracks ruin our vibe." Her lackeys, Ellen and Greg, nodded like trained seals. "Fly your choppers, look," she taunted. "Or leave. This community's moving up, and you're in the way." That's when it clicked. She didn't just want quiet. She wanted me gone. My land sold to her cousin's firm for their golf fantasy. I left, heart pounding, and drove to the city permit office, where I found her emergency obstruction filing, claiming my water purifiers were explosives. Lies, all of it, but clever enough to stall me. I wasn't playing her game. I sent photos, footage, and her permit to my guard contact, Sarah, a legal advisor who'd worked hurricanes with me. "An HOA blocking federal relief?" she said, incredulous. "Send it all. I'm escalating this." I did, copying trusted reporters for good measure. This wasn't just my fight. It was about every life waiting for those trucks. By noon, my drivers were restless, the sun blazing, and I found scratches on a purifier tank. Zip ties and HOA visitor tags nearby. Sabotage? Pamela's goons had tried to rig a hazard to justify her lies. I caught it on camera. And that's when I made the call that changed everything, not to a lawyer, but to a guard colonel I'd saved during a flood. Ever see an HOA take on the fence? I asked. He laughed. Nope. But I want a front row seat. The war turned hot, like a spark hitting dry grass. Sarah called back, voice sharp. Your files flagged a federal obstruction. Major Cole's heading your way with clearance to act. At 8:07 a.m., a Humvee rolled up, dust swirling, and out stepped Cole, a grizzled officer who looked like he ate red tape for breakfast. He measured the barriers, eyed my explosive purifiers, laughing when he saw they were water filters, and took my report. She did this over HOA rules, he asked, shaking his head. Pamela stormed in. Bathrobe flapping, screeching, "This is my street. You're trespassing." Cole didn't blink. ID, ma'am. We're investigating federal interference. Her face went purple. I don't answer to the Pentagon. I'm HOA president. She waved bylaws, spat near his boots, and swiped at a soldier's phone. Bad move. Local cops, now outranked, stepped back as Cole cited Title 18. Section 1389, obstructing federal ops. Next step's not a warning, he said, voice like steel. Pamela stammered, I'll call my lawyer, and fled, her robe dragging like a broken wing. Cole turned to me, deadpan. We're clearing this. Stay for the show. I grinned. Wouldn't miss it. The takedown was cinematic, like a fortress crumbling in slow motion. Bulldozers rolled in. Cables hooked the slabs, and Cole's team secured the road. A soldier handed me earplugs in the honor of the countdown. 3, 2, 1, I called. And the first barrier snapped with a thunderous crack. The second tipped into dirt. The third hauled onto a flatbed. My drivers fired up their rigs, diesel roaring, lights flashing. And the convoy surged out, bound for fire-ravaged towns. Neighbors cheered, phones filming, Miss Ruth waving a scarf like a flag. Pamela watched from a hill, pale, silent, her power shattered. By dusk, the story hit local news. My clip of Pamela's rant, screaming about executive community powers, going viral with 10,000 shares. Comments roasted her. Mayor of Narnia. HOA means harass old Americans. A reporter called for my take. She built a wall to stop my trucks, I said. I brought the guard. The internet did the rest, memes and talk shows piling on. But it wasn't just laughs, it was a wake-up call about HOAs drunk on power, strangling folks who couldn't fight back. The aftermath was like a town shaking off a fever. Pamela tried a comeback. Holding a planning forum in the park, waving flyers with a golf course sketch, my land labeled Acquisition Zone. No one bought it. I'd gone door to door, showing Miss Ruth's fine for her flag. Carlos's banned toolbox, Jenny's shuttered bake sale. They were done with her. At the next HOA meeting, I laid out her fraud. Fake permits, $40,000 in dues funneled to her cousin's firm. A sham environmental review to justify the barriers. I read the bylaw. Investigated members could be ousted by majority vote. Hands shot up, near unanimous. Pamela was gone, her records seized. Her allies silent. The state stepped in, issuing summons for obstructing federal ops and fraud, her cousin's LLCs under scrutiny. She didn't show, too busy dodging reporters. A protective order shielded my land. Signs posted. Do not block. Federal access. Pamela got 2 years probation, $100,000 in fines, her rain ash. We rewrote the HOA charter, open budgets. Term limits, no meddling with emergency sites. Kids biked free, Miss Ruth's flag flew proud, and Jenny's pies sold out at the community fair. I spoke at a state summit later, sharing how one woman's walls nearly stopped a lifeline, the crowd standing when I finished, not for me, but for what it meant. No one's above the truth. Back home, I kept a chunk of that concrete. Not for spite, but as a reminder, walls fall when you stand firm. Pinewood's quieter now, but one night, Rusty growled at the fence, and I found a note. This isn't over. No name, just a shadow. Is Pamela's fight done, or is another brewing? How many gates are still blocked? Tell me below. Tangled with an HOA bully? Share if Rusty's bark or Pamela's crash hit you. And let's talk breaking through. In Pinewood, we don't just roll, we roar.